To be playing football as a kid and someone be saying something about your colour was the norm. I played a youth team match against Stoke. The second year pro playing up front with me, we were getting it. You black this, you and this, you blah, blah, blah. Everyone could hear it. We got it from two of them. But what they didn't expect was that my strike partner fouled one of them, and the lad lying on the floor, the other central defenders giving it, oh, you and this, blah, 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 running towards him. They didn't know he was a boxer. Gave him a two-piece, he was sleeping. The other one got back up, gave him two as well, and he was sleeping. He got banned and fined for that. No one, I don't know if anything happened to them. And we just carried on with the game, like it was normal. I'm Emile Heskey, and this is my Behind the Headlines. I grew up in Leicester, in a council estate, but it was more of an ethnic council estate, Highfields at the time. My background and my upbringing is more Caribbean. That's all we knew in that area. That's how we integrated. We had a black pub, we had the black, everything was there. And then when I left there, which I moved to Evington, which is on the outskirts of the city centre. I moved there, it was more white and Asian. It was different because I went from only seeing really black people and then being one of possibly three in the school, which was a bit weird, but I had this funny knack of just dealing with things and just getting on with it, and that helped me throughout everything. I was actually spotted by a scout from playing football with the school. Now, I don't know if that would have been the same thing being in a city school, because at that time, I'm guessing that they wouldn't have, the Leicester City Scouts wouldn't have been watching too much in the city football teams. If I didn't move schools and I didn't pick up football in that sense, that where I started to love it a little bit more because I was playing it regularly and I had more open fields to do it, I think I'd have probably chose athletics. Very quick I was when I broke into Leicester. I was young, light, very quick. The thing is, the size of me, no one thought that I would be quick because of the size. I was 6'1", at the time probably about 13 stone. And no one, when you're looking at that sort of stature of a person, you're thinking he's just going to be there to hold up the ball. But I ended up playing left wing and being able to take people on and run with the ball and no one could catch you. I did not have any other thought about other than playing football. My football progression just went up and up and up. From the age of 9 when I joined Leicester City, which would have been like, they call it academy now, but it was just called a centre of excellence. We used to have 100 kids just running around, and over the years they just stopped withering it down, and I was the one that was constantly staying in whenever I could get to training, to be honest, because my mum and dad didn't drive at the time. So you're jumping on 2 buses to get to the training ground. I never thought that I was ever going to be dropped or not told not to come back, because I was confident in myself, in my ability, even at that age. And when it got to 14 and 15, especially 15/16, I thought I could play in the first team. That's how confident I was, you know. And 15, I played in the under-18s, and this was the little jump that made me understand that I could definitely make it to that level. I was 15, went on the bench for the under-18s, playing Northampton away on the cricket ground, and we went 1-0 down, and back then obviously effing and blinding was the okay thing for a manager to do. And standing there as a 15-year-old listening to a manager F and blind at these players who were kids at the end of the day, it was weird. But then we 1-0 down, and I think after, I don't know, it must have been, 20 minutes, he's called me, you're going on. Fine. Took everything in my stride, even up to then. Came on, scored twice, came in at half time. He just absolutely berated everyone, saying how embarrassing it is for this 15-year-old to come and dig you lot out of the shit, basically. Second half, got injured, came off, but we won 2-1, and that was the start of me, really. It wasn't that amount of money. It wasn't that amount of money, but it was a substantial amount of money. When I'd heard Leicester were in trouble and I heard there was a consortium put together, I felt it was my obligation to get involved. If there was no Leicester City, there wouldn't be no Emile Heskey. That's how I saw it. They helped me get through my career. They helped boost my career. They helped me start. They gave me that platform to get to where I was. So I felt obliged to be involved. And when I heard it was Gary Lineker, even more so, 2 Leicester lads. Being from Leicester, grown up, seeing people come and play, come through the ranks and play, just gave me that feeling that I must do something. I was actually a Liverpool fan before, but once you come through a system, inevitably you're going to be that fan. And I watched Leicester from the early 90s because I was in their system. I was a ball boy, watching even Gary McAllister play, you know, the Walshy when he first come. Players like that, so, and then sitting in the old stand, you know, and watching them sitting on the bench at the old stand. Yeah, I'd have to consider myself a fan. If you can go to four cup finals in 5 years, you've got to say that you're doing something good. Considering when we first came up, we were odds on to go back down straight away. We finished top half of the table and won a cup final. It's tough to put one thing on it, but I would say Martin O'Neill's given us the belief that we were able to achieve whatever we wanted to. If you look at the way we trained, the way we did things, you'd have thought, no, they're bound to get relegated. They're bound to be in League, well, what we call League One now. We had a laugh every day. It was more of a family. It was more of mates getting together and having a laugh, kicking a ball around, rather than actually being a serious training session. We looked forward to Fridays, which was young v old more than anything else. The gaffer wasn't there most of the time. He'd come in on Tuesday to run us because we had Wednesday off. Then we'd see him Friday and Saturday. So little things that you look back at, you're thinking, how the hell did we achieve what we did? But we had the belief, and we had a good structure in ourselves, and we could achieve. Well, you got your likes of Neil Lennon, Muzzy, the main one, obviously Walshy, being the captain, being the senior player, being that talisman. Walshy used to probably train on Fridays, maybe have a little jog on Mondays. Used to take anti-inflammatory pills just to get out to train and for the games. Could hardly walk during the week, and then next minute he's the best player on Saturday. But it typified what we were as a group. He was amazing for us. I've spoken to a lot of players around my era, and it was tough when you moved from the youth to the first team. That transition, because you are a young lad, there were certain initiations and certain stuff you had to do to gain their trust and to be respected and wanted in that team. But they never did that. Never ever. Never had to do any of them initiations, never had to do any of that sort of stuff. One thing you do have to do is you have to be respectful for your elders. You have to, I was at the back of the coach having to make teas and coffees and toast and stuff like that. Not a problem. Yeah, because they won the Champions League the next season. So you've got to look at it in that sense. I don't have many regrets because at the end of the day, when you're a player and a manager or a CEO comes to you and says, well, we've accepted an offer for you. Okay, cool. But I want to fight for my place. Well, we're bringing in Cisse and you won't play. Well, okay. So you've got a decision to make. And that was my decision that I made. I'd agreed with Birmingham at the end of the season that I was going to leave. So yeah, when he came in, Well, but you look at Cisse, he was at Auxerre at the time and he was scoring a lot of goals, and he was a very good forward. So you can't really, I don't really look at other players and say, well, I can do that, the same thing. But I'm different to him. I suited that period, and I felt if I'd have stayed, I probably would have played as well. But I'd chosen to move on, so it was one of those things that you can't turn back on. When I moved there, going from Martin O'Neill, who allowed you to be free and just express yourself, and then going to Houllier, who actually taught you about football. You know, we went from not really watching many videos to sitting there with Gerald Houllier for an hour or two, watching opposing teams. So imagine sitting in the dark with a screen there. Half of the time you're like, ugh. But it helps, you know, because after a while you're really focusing on what you've got ahead. It was great. It was amazing I was an England player anyway, so I'd been around a lot of them players anyway, and I understood the what it needed to be at that level, in a sense, because I'd played for England from the age of 16, so I'd played with the likes of Michael Owen and players like that, and Robbie Fowler, and been in around Jamie Redknapp, and been in around that structure. So I'd understood that anyway, but to actually go to a club of that stature and have the scrutiny on you was weird. But I only wanted to be on the football pitch. I only wanted to be. That was where I didn't care about anything. I just wanted to be on that football pitch because it was my domain. Oh, it was amazing. It was like a sixth sense with Michael. Like I said, we played together from a young age. I was 18. He came into our England under-18s team. And for a young lad to come into a national team like that, and even though it's the youth national teams, it's still high levels. We had your Rios, your Lampses, your Carragers, you had all these players in there. And for him to come in and still be the best or one of the best was amazing for a young lad as well. And so we just formed a partnership from then, and it was just, everything just clicked. We understood each other as players on that pitch, and it clicked in an unbelievable way. Possibly the FA Cup. We're playing against a very, very tough Arsenal side there, and in all fairness, they battered us. You know, and we just stuck in the game. And when you stick in a game like that, and you've got a player like Michael, you know you've got half a chance, because he only needs half a chance, and he'll get you the goals. And at that time, he was in his height of his game. And you look at the first goal, just something so instinctive to drop and then finish it. Second goal, Tony Adams actually did the right thing, showing him onto his left foot, but he can finish as well. Yeah, so. To play in them sort of games, and that was an amazing game, to be honest. It's a criticism that was levelled at me throughout my career. But if you look at my career, especially early on, I scored between 10 and 15 goals a season, which in essence wasn't too bad of a return for someone they considered who wasn't a goal scorer. And I played a lot of games, left wing, right wing. I played actually every single position on the pitch. The only one was goalkeeper. I played left back, left wing back, at Leicester against Chelsea away. I played right back. I did centre back. I did a little bit of centre midfield. I played left wing, right wing and forward. When you're versatile like that, you're underappreciated because they want you to tie down to one position and try and make it yours. But when you're versatile like that, you actually help more people. You're a bit more of an outlet for coaches. When you're playing, you just want to play. So if you put me a left wing, I'll play left wing. If you put me a right wing, I'll play right wing. A lot of people who write upon things don't necessarily understand it. So you just let it go over your head. I went into an England game, I think it was Croatia. It was Croatia, and I think we played Israel or somewhere like Russia or one of them. We played 2 games. And I was at Wigan at the time, I think. I remember the call up, it was Steve McLaren. And I was in the car with Emile Heskey, and he dropped me back at my house, and I took a call, and I'm thinking, who's this number? And I don't really like to answer calls from numbers I don't know, but I answered it anyway, and he goes, oh, this is Steve. Hello, Steve. Yeah, Steve McLaren. And everyone should know that when you get a phone call from someone and you don't know the number and they just say their name like that, it could be a footballer messing about with you. So a lot of people just hang up, but I took the call, and it was him calling me up for them 2 games. What went on in my mind after that was, well, why are you calling me up now? You've already picked the squad. Why are you calling me up after? Why didn't you call me up before? Didn't think nothing of it. Went with the team and everything. The headlines were all negative, obviously, when I'm getting called up into the squad. Oh, he has got no goals. He's got this. He's done that. He's got that. Instead of looking at positives on why I've come back into the squad. We won the 2 games, and that's when the positives come out, when you win the 2 games, and blah, blah. But what I'm getting at, we had players in that squad that could have played, but he chose me to come back to play. When I was chose to come back, I just thought I was coming to train, be in the squad. But I actually played ahead of a lot of the players that were already chosen before I came back in. One of the things that he said was Michael. He'd been speaking to Michael, and Michael had said, "Why not call up Emile?" Which I found very strange, because it's not like he didn't know what I was all about. I played against several teams that he's coached and managed. I worked with a lot of them, and I don't think we particularly had any bad ones. I worked with Glenn Hoddle for a little bit. I never played, but I was in the squads and training and everything. He was good, very good, tactically and everything. Even then, I think it all depends on the individual player, because I had Martin O'Neill, and Martin O'Neill you could be his best mate on Sunday and he will not say a word to you on Monday. You would not be he could look at you and then just put his head down and walk straight past you on Monday. But you got used to that, and it was not a problem for me. Capello was quite strict and quite aggressive with it as well. Nothing that harmed me or anything. I remember one time, it's funny, I can't remember where we'd been, where we went to, and we'd been travelling for a long time. And we got to the hotel, and what we usually do, we usually go to our rooms and blah, blah. But because we'd been travelling that long, we just dumped our bags in the reception and went straight to get some food and everything, and we sat there, and we'd been on this journey for a long time. So when we got there, everyone was on their phone. So we sat here in a row. The tables are usually like that. Sat in a row. I was probably about 4th down. Everyone had their phone out, but he pinpointed me out and absolutely hammered me. To the point where, when you've got your food in hotels, when you've got the food and you've got the trays, they went everywhere and everything, and because the material that it is, it just makes a loud noise, and everyone's like, what's going on? But everyone's still looking at their phones, but he's only fixated on me, because I'm guessing I was the first one that he saw do it. But J-Mo was next to me, and he's like, what happened? He's still on his phone saying, what happened? I said, put your phone away, mate. Yeah. But you look at national team, and because it's the pinnacle, everyone wants to get it right. But I've seen one particular national team manager change his team because of what was said in the newspaper. And you have to be very, very, very strong when you're a national team coach or manager, because you can be swayed by so many different elements. And back then, it was newspapers that were swaying you. As a group, you could possibly say we should have achieved more. There's so many different things, so many different variations that you can say, well, we never achieved it because we wasn't as good as what everyone thought. We didn't achieve it because I've heard some people saying we wasn't quite together as we like to have thought we was. At the time, we had Man U, and this was everyone will say it. We had Man U players sitting here, Liverpool's players sitting here, different players sitting here. It was like, yeah. And it was funny because when I left Liverpool and went to Birmingham, I was then on the, but I didn't come back in until Wigan. So it was Wigan, I was then on the peripheral. Whereas before I was in Liverpool. Don't get me wrong, every now and again you'd sit with these people and sit in there, but it would generally be like that. And you can't blame people, because if I'm with you every day at training, whenever I go there, I'm still going to sit with you. Because I know you, I sit with you on a regular basis. I know what conversations to have with you and everything. So it was tough in that sense. When Joe Cole first came, Joe would have been, what, 17, 18 maybe? And to see Joe Cole come in with with all the freedom in the world to do what he wants, some of the stuff that he used to do, you're like, what did he just do then? Just show me that one again, mate. Little things like that he'd do, but he was our GAZZA. He was our next GAZZA. But within football, again, you get pigeonholed and swayed to a different way, and he had to change his game a little bit. But I saw him at the beginning where he would try certain things, and you're like, wow, this is amazing, this kid. I remember Scholesy kicking lumps out of him, but he didn't care. Did not care. He just got back up and take him on again. And to see Scholesy getting frustrated was weird, because he was usually the main guy. But this young lad come in, start doing all these step overs, dragging it, doing the Rabona and everything. You're like, wow, I can only imagine what he was doing back at West Ham at the time. 100%. No, you're supposed to embrace that and let him play with a bit of freedom, players like that. But it was coached out of him because within a system you're supposed to play a certain way, and if you can't play that way, you've got to leave or you've got to conform. He reached amazing heights, to be fair to him. You know, league titles, FA Cup. I'm sure. I think he won the Champions League and things like that. So he reached amazing heights. Whether he could have gone further, we don't know. But he was our GAZZA. He was our Zinedine Zidane, if you want to say that way as well. These lads were allowed to play with a bit of freedom, and allowed to express themselves. He wasn't. You need them to get together. I like to see all that, and this is where the explosion of social media has helped. Not only connecting the fans with the England players and England itself, but connecting the players as well. Now the players are regularly in contact with each other, Instagram, Snapchat, this, that, this, just texting each other through that. Whereas we would never have done it. We were never like that. Now you don't necessarily need to go out with each other all the time, but you're constantly on Instagram saying well done, doing this, doing that, and they're more together now than we ever were. And the narrative is run by the players and the FA rather than by the media. Can I just address the first bit that you said with the fan that come over and said you're not welcome? He basically said you're not welcome here at Leicester City Football Club. Your kind's not welcome here. That was that. But, and I was only a kid. Why would you go up as an adult, go up to a kid and tell them you're not welcome here? Regardless of what you think of that kid or anything, he's a kid. You might even have kids his age. So why are you going to even bother? Has it gone? No. Will it ever go? Only when we address it in society. Football's in the public domain. It's in the forefront. So everyone hears about it. But there's so many stories. Like you're saying, I'm desensitized to a lot of stuff. You just laugh, or you fight. But then if you fight, it's your problem. It's your fault, not theirs. I'm talking back then. It was normal. You know, to be playing football as a kid and someone be saying something about your colour was the norm. there's nothing you could do. Back then anyway. There's more you can do now. You can report it now. But you couldn't report anything back then. Report it to who? That you've been told that because of your skin colour, you're not welcome around here. Who's going to tell you what's the police going to do about that? There we go, mate. Well, you just take it with a pinch of salt. I played a youth team match against Stoke. I would have been 16 at the time. The lad, the second year pro playing up front with me, we were getting it. You black this, you and this, you blah, blah, blah. Everyone could hear it. The coaches never did anything. The coaches never said anything, didn't bring their players off. We got it from 2 of them. But what they didn't expect was that my strike partner fouled one of them. I don't know if it was a foul, I'm guessing it was a foul. And the lad lying on the floor, the other central defenders giving it, you and this, blah, 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 running towards him. They didn't know he was a boxer. Gave him a 2-piece, he was sleeping. The other one got back up, gave him 2 as well, and he was sleeping. He got banned and fined for that. No one, I don't know if anything happened to them. And we just carried on with the game, like it was normal. In a sense that no one will say that sort of things, but I don't know if anyone still believes that. You won't hear that sort of stuff. People people understand that they can't say it now, but you don't know if they actually think that. Look how they demonized Lewis Hamilton when he came out and said it. You just wouldn't say it. You just wouldn't. Yes, it was an ongoing joke when we were playing for the national team. Who's going to get it this week? Who's going to get it this time? I'm going to get it. Nah, I'm going to get it. But it was like I said, it was the norm. We just got on with it. Like I said, that bloke coming to me and saying, as a kid, your kind's not welcome around here. If it bothered me that much, I wouldn't have gone back. But I went back the next week. I was chased from Leicester Stadium by a drunk fan shouting the N-word and this. We got to, obviously you know where Leicester Stadium is, so we were chased back to town centre, which I knew they weren't going to catch me, I was too quick. The ironic thing is, fast forward 2 years, that guy would have been chanting Bruno. Now I don't know what that man would have done if he had caught me. I don't know. But I didn't wait around to see what he was going to do. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. I'll give you another story, the one that you mentioned, Slovakia. So we went to Slovakia, we won that game, but as soon as it kicked off, Ashley got the ball. But when you're in a stadium and that many people do it, you just think it's booing. Then Bex got it, nothing. Then I got it, and then someone else got it. So every time we went to a black person, it was basically monkey chanting, but you just get on with it. The FA weren't too happy with that. And we had to do a report. I actually wasn't too bothered. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't that bothered. Let's just get on with it. Let's just move on. If FIFA don't want to do anything with it, it's not my problem. But I had to file a report, and I had to, with the FA, they came to my house, I had to sit in the kitchen, they had to do this, go through everything. How do you feel? Yeah, I heard it. Would it make you feel? No, not really. Because I'm on the football pitch. One thing you know about football pitches, when you're on the football pitch, no one can actually touch you. No one can actually do anything to you. Even though they might feel a lot of hatred towards you because of your colour, no one can actually do anything to you, which is great. They can say whatever they want. But then you fast forward and you see, I think it was a BNP leader, one of them saying that about Ashley Cole. And then he had this bee in his bonnet about Ashley Cole, but then he said about the national team, it's not his national team because it's got black people in it, blah, blah, blah. And then a paper ran with it and blacked out our faces. I remember Brad Friel at the time saying, how dare they, it's like, well, this is the done thing, this is what they do. But I didn't hear anything from the FA when that was run. And that possibly hurt me more, because it's only our own papers, than some random fan in Slovakia doing monkey chants. I expect better, and I'm representing the country. I'm showing my allegiance to this country that I was born in. And then you got someone saying that. You're like, but I didn't see no FA come to me and ask me how I felt. I didn't see no PFA ask me how I felt. No one. It just was like, you'd be looking to do stuff, but no one's there. You haven't got your mates at work. What can you do? So yeah, a lot of daytime TV, a lot of just sitting around, waiting for possibly the kids to finish school so you can go and pick up them and then take them to football. Very tough. Because I'd been conditioned from the age of 16, from when I left school, to get up at a certain age, certain time, do this at a certain time, do that at a certain time, go there, this, throughout my whole career, up until 38. So I was still looking for that. Yeah, and I found it tough at first. I actually joined a local team, Edgerton, and we had a few ex-players and some younger players that would play, and that gave me that little bit of an outlet as well, until I was ready to just drop that. I retired at 38 and I was at Bolton, and I'd got it in my mind that it was about that time. I still feel I could have probably played another year, maybe even 2. I felt fit, I felt good. But my kids were playing, and one thing with football and having kids while you're playing football, you generally don't get much time to be a dad, because you're going training, then you're going back here, then you've got to relax, and then you've got to go to games 2 days or a day before the game, and you're in a hotel. And so I just felt that it was that right time to be dad as well, and just to look at the different side of football, and trying to get back into it that way.
As soon as he stepped through that front door, it was just horrendous. Like, I can't tell you how bad training was.